Hey everyone, welcome to another video from Kenneth's training video series, and this video is part 7 of Exchange Server 2012 training. Now previously in previous videos we configured pretty much basic configurations of Exchange. We went through some of the roles, we did some labs as well. So far, if you followed all 6 videos in this series, you should be having a complete Exchange environment, and your Mailflow internally should be working within one organization. Now, this video is especially to have Exchange email flow between 2 different organizations. Now here I'll be simulating email going from one organization to another completely different organization. So here in my lab I'm going to have 2 separate Exchange organizations, which means 2 separate forests with 2 separate Exchange organizations. They both will be having their own mailbox server, cache server, and hub transport server roles. And then in order to configure mail flow between both of them, what we need to do is we need to first of all make sure that they're both either on the same network, or they are both on the routable network, or they both can reach each other by IP address. Now, since this is my test lab in VMware, so instead of going into very complex networking issues, what I did, I just created another VM within the same network. So basically my other organization is also sitting in on the same subnet, so that I don't have to do any routing. Although in VMware network I can do a routing between two different networks. Now let me see if I can get a diagram for this. I'm gonna pause this here so that we can better understand through a diagram. Okay, so this diagram that I made previously for the same environment, so this will better explain what I'm trying to do in this environment. So basically this is my Exchange network that is working perfectly. In this we have this Exchange server, which is a DC as well, with this IP address. It is a DNS, it is an Exchange server, and plus it has the Exchange organization name is Kenneth's Exchange. It has 3 mailbox server roles, meaning it has a typical Exchange install: mailbox server, cache, and hub. Second server is just a mailbox server role. It does not have cache and hub in it. And third server is also, to start with, I created it with mailbox server, but then later on I had cache and hub. So this one also has cache and hub in it. Now this is working perfectly. In previous 6 videos we did Mailflow, we did configure cache, we did configure hub transport server role, and Mailflow is working fine internally. Now in this video I created a second environment. So this is a completely second Exchange. Here Exchange organization name is Vint Exchange and the domain name is VintPRI. Whereas here this is Kenneth.local and Kenneth's Exchange. So these are 2 totally different organizations, different forests, different everything. Now the only thing that I'm doing is I'm keeping this server on the same subnet. So this is 100.99, this is 100.120, so this is 100 subnet. The reason is, although I can bring a router in between server 2012, maybe I'll do a future video for that, to bring a router, and then I can have it totally on a different 10.10.10 network. This can be done, but just to make this simpler, on networking side I have it on the same subnet. I would suggest you do the same thing, because our goal is not to configure the network, but mainly to do the mail flow between 2 Exchange organizations. So here I have the second Exchange organization, this is first Exchange organization. In this video I'm going to show you that how we can do mail flow between these 2 organizations. So just to explain here, first of all, very first thing we need to see that if this is pingable to this environment. So I'm going to ping from any one of these server to this server by IP, and from this server to this server by IP. So basically they're sitting on the same network, they should be able to ping in VMware, number 1. Number 2 is we need to ping by name because Exchange is a name-based application, meaning Exchange works on server names or domain names. Exchange doesn't work on IP address. So we need to ping by name. So this server should be able to ping this server by this name, and this server should be able to ping by this name. In order to do this, we have many different solutions. Now, it cannot be done by default, because by default, this DNS can only ping the servers inside its own domain. This DNS doesn't understand anything in this domain, whereas this forest has its own DNS. It can ping itself, but it won't be able to ping. Now there are few methods. What we can do is, the simplest method is that we create a forwarder in this DNS for anything that is going to canis.local, forward that query to this DNS server. And here we're going to create a forwarder in this DNS server saying anything that is looking for canis.pri should be sent to this. So this is the simplest solution. We create forwarder from here to here and forwarder from here to here. Second solution is that we should create we can create a secondary zone for canis.local in this, and secondary zone for prevent.local in this. So this can be done as well. Secondary zone is, we all know that it's a read-only copy of the main zone. We can create secondary zone for each other. So we can create forwarder, we can create conditional forwarder, we can also create secondary zone, or we can create stub zone. So I can create a stub zone pointing to this domain and this stub zone pointing to this domain. Although stub zones won't work properly, so we'll go with the simplest solution. We'll create forwarder from here to here and here to here, and then we'll ping by name. So in order to have cross-organization email flow, first of all, ping by IP. Second, they should be pingable by name. And third, we are going to create accepted domains on both sides. So in this side, we are going to create accepted domain of we are going to create accepted domain. Hold on. No, we're going to create a send connector. We're going to create send connector for each other. Send connector for this to here, and send connector for this to here. Now let's jump back to our slide here, and let's see. So we will be creating two separate Exchange organizations. We'll be configuring in DNS forwarder to each other. Then in EMC we're going to create send connector for each other, and then in EMC we're going to create accepted domain for each other as internal relay. Yes, we do need to create accepted domain internal relay for each other, and then we're going to do that Mailflow. Now let's jump back to our slide. So in our slide, these are my 4 servers in one organization, and here I have a second organization ready, and I'm going to start this. While this is starting up, I'm going to jump back to one of the servers. So on this server, I'm going to do first a local email flow. So it's very important to do local internal email flow so that we know that this organization is working fine. I suggest you should do exactly the same thing. So from any mailbox from first organization, all you need to do is email to yourself. So here I'm going to email to MLE just to make sure that my internal mail flow is working fine. So this is internal mail test. Send to myself, and I should be able to receive it. And here it is, internal mail test. It's working fine. Now I created this second server with its own exchange. So a little bit about how I created it. I just created a new VM. I signed IP address, then I named it properly, then I installed the domain WinPRI. I make sure that firewalls are off, and then I installed Exchange in this. When I installed Exchange in this, I called this Wint Exchange as Exchange organization. Then I made sure Exchange is working fine. Now I'm going to make sure that internal mail flow is working fine in this domain. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log into OWA within this domain. And how do I log in? I can write this exchange server name went. So exchange is opening here. So let it open. So OVA address is always went, your exchange server name dcexch01 and slash OWA. If OVA is configured properly, it should work. Actually, it should be HTTPS, and here it will select you to OVA Outlook web app in this exchange. While this is going on, I can go here and see if exchange is working fine. It might not work since I bring it back from a pause state. If it is not working, I'm going to restart this exchange server. So I'll just wait here while this connects, and here OVA is trying to connect. Now doing an internal mail flow is very important in this test environment, because if internal flow is working, it means that all your exchange components are working. If internal flow is not working, your exchange components is not working, number one. Number two, you won't be able to do external email flow. So here it is connecting to OVA, and I have one account here that is administrator, went/administrator, and if I connect to this account, here sometimes you get this error message, initialization failed. Now this is due to sometimes if you're not logged in with administrator. Here it clearly says I'm not logged in as administrator, so I'm going to log off. So I'm going to forget about this for now. So make sure that you're always logged in with administrator. This is not administrator account. So logging in with administrator, switch user. Oh, sorry, it should be went/administrator. Logging in, and now I'm going to start this, and at the same time I'm going to start Internet Explorer, and within this I'm going to connect to OVA, so localhost OVA. Let's connect. Exchange is starting. I'm going to log in with went/administrator, password. Let's log in, and I'm connected, and here exchange is loading. So while exchange is loading, I can do here internal mail flow test. So new email to myself, administrator, to myself, testing local mail flow, send. So if exchange is working fine, I should be able to receive email any moment. So I received it. So internal email is working fine in this organization, and internal email is also working fine in this organization. Now, without doing anything, let me try to send cross email. So from here, I'm gonna send email to administrator at went.pri. I'm gonna say test from Kenneth MLE and send. And from here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to send email to mali at kenneth.pri and test from admin and send. So once this is sent, if email is working fine, then this should be able to receive email. So here this should be able to receive their email. Now where is their email? First of all, let's see this here. Is it in the sent folder? Just from went. So basically it went from this mailbox. So definitely it must be sitting in hub transport server of this server. And where is this email? So this didn't receive that email that we sent to the other side. And if we see in the sent, meaning it is delivered to. If it is in the sent, it meaning it's delivered to hub transport server role. Now let's check our Exchange systems. Where is this email? Within the Exchange organization, within Toolbox, there is something called Queue Viewer. So this is basically, this checks the transport server. We'll open Queue Viewer, and Queue Viewer will show us that if that email is stuck in the queue or is it sent forward. Now most probably it should be sitting in the queue, and while this opens, I'm going to log into this other Exchange organization, going into here, expanding Toolbox, and within this we're going to go to Toolbox. It's just loading, in progress. While this is loading, I'm going to go back here, and here queue is still loading. So you would see queue in a moment. Now Queue Viewer is used to see how many emails are stuck in hub transport server. Also, hub transport server is mostly it is responsible for the transportation of emails. So internal email flow was working fine. Hub transport server was used, and when I sent email to MLE itself, it was from hub transport server. It came back to this machine. So in here, this was internal test that we did earlier. So hub transport server was working fine. But when we sent an email to administrator at Wint did not receive that email yet. So no email from the other side. So in order to check that out, we are going to check queues, transport queue on both sides. So on this side, I'm going to check the queue, and on this side, I'm going to check the queue. In order to check the queue, you need to go to Toolbox. You can go to Queue Viewer, and it opens like this. So here I see that there is one unreachable domain. If you double click on this, it opens how many messages are there. So it shows me that this message is unreachable. Now what is the message? I can click here and see this was the message sent from so it was sent to administrator at PRI, and it was sent from MLE. So basically here it's not showing the ID for some reason, but it was from MLE. So it's saying there is no matching connector available. So that's why it is sitting in queue. If you look at the messages here, you would see that message size is 17. It is sent from that person. Now if you want to, you can suspend this message, or you can say remove this message with NDR. So it will be removed from the queue, and an NDR will be sent to MLE. So here MLE should be able to receive an NDR in a moment. Saying that the email was rejected and it was not sent to. It was not a. So there should be an NDR here. Let me send another message. So here, let's send a message to administrator at PRI, test from MLE, and done. Again, let's check the queue. Another email should be sent in queue. So here it was nothing, but if you refresh, there should be a submission. So it goes to all emails are submitted to the queue. So in few moments should be able to see that there must be a message that was sent to Emily, or by any chance if it was sent here, it was not received because we have not configured anything yet. So queue is the place that would show you any messages that are stuck in queue. So we'll leave this as is. Might be a bit of delay. So now this is one organization, this is second organization. Internal emails are working fine, external is not working. So in order to do external, we need to do this. First of all, in DNS, we need to create forwarders for each domain. So let's go back here. First of all, before even creating forwarder, let me try to ping the other side. So the other server IP address was 192.168.100.199. It is pinging. And from here, I want to ping this server. Let me see the IP address. The IP address is 10. So let's ping from here. So IP address is pinging. Now let's ping by name. So if I ping by name, here I'm saying ping Kenneth DC EXCH01, and it is pinging because previously I did some tests and there is forwarder enabled, and I'm going to show you how to enable it. But let's see if this is pinging by name. Wint DC EXCH01. Also this is pinging their IP address. Now it is pinging by name because in DNS I've configured forwarder, but in your case you have not configured the forwarder, so this is what we need to do. We can go to here on a DC on the same server. You need to go to Open DNS on the first server, then go down and then right click on your DNS server, go to properties. Within properties you can go to forwarder, and within forwarder, actually there is no forwarder, but it is catching the IPv6 address somehow. So let me see, because IPv6 automatically creates routes. Let me see. Normally I do disable. IP6 is enabled, so that's why it's pinging. I need to disable IPv6 here. So as you can see, these are IPv6 address. So let me disable IPv6. So many small little things to remember. So from here, first of all, so we disabled IPv6. Now once IPv6 is disabled, all I need to do is right click on this server and we'll go to properties. So we're creating a forwarder for the others. So go to properties, and here I'm going to say select forwarder any messages to 100.199 from Canis. So as soon as you click enter, it should be able to resolve the name if this is responding back. So here it should give us a green signal in few moments. If it doesn't, then meaning that this IP is not accessible. So it is okay, it's able to find it, number one. And number two, from here we need to do the same thing. You need to go to DNS. Again, on the same, it has a DNS. Go to this DNS server, go to properties, go to forwarder, and in forwarder, basically it is already there, 192.168.100.10. If it is not there, all you need to do is to click this line and add this IP address. So once this is there, press OK. Now let's ping the name. So now it is pinging by correct IP. Remember, it was pinging to this IP address, IPv6. Now it is pinging to this. And from here, you also need to make sure that it should be pinging IPv4. So here it is pinging IPv4. So this is what we discussed before, that now This is okay. So here we create two organizations, then we ping by name, and then now both are pinging by IP. Now the second thing, create send connectors on both sides and accepted domain on both sides. So here we need to create a send connector. So go to Exchange, go to Hub Transport Server, and go to send connectors, and here create a send connector. So once you create a send connector, and send connector, I'm going to create a win.pri. Now I'm on Canvas. In Canvas should have a send connector for this. This should have a send connector for this. So Canvas, it will be a custom connector. Next, an address space, we can specify it to only PRI. We can do this, or if we want to leave it open, we can say star. So anything that needs to go out should be sent out. Any email addresses that needs to go out of this domain, just send them out, and then so send them out, and then ISP servers will receive them. But in our case, we are going to use wint.pri. Although we can set up star and that would work fine as well. So this is a special connector for win.pri, and next, done, and done, finish. Send connector is created. Now we're going to create a send connector from here to here. So send connector, go into Exchange, go into organization server, Hub Transport Server, connect to send connector, right click, create a connector. Now send connectors are important. Whenever internal email is required, those are sent to local email Exchange servers. But whenever an email is sent to external domain, how does Exchange know it is sent to external? Because with the name. So win.pri is not a local name for this. So send connector. Here previously, since I tested, I already created a send connector, but let me remove it and show you how it is done. All you need to do is, so delete it, create a new send connector, and I'm going to say this is canvas.pri. I'm going to copy this, next, and here this is for canvas.pri, done, and it's fine. Send connector is created. Now the second thing, we need to create accepted domain for each other. Should be able to accept emails from these domains. So here I'm going to go into accepted domain, and in this there is already one accepted domain for this. This was previous, this is for, so this is the one that you will see in your lab. We're going to create an accepted domain for canvas.pri. So canvas.pri, and accepted domain is this, but this will be internal relay. So you should be able to receive email for this here and send it to that other domain. Done, finish, and do the same thing on the other side. So new domain, actually, it should work even without this, but let's try this out first, and then later on we can remove and test. So this is done. So all is done. Now let's do the mail flow. So once now we do the mail flow, create a new email for administrator at this test1 from Kenneth to Mint. Send, go here, go to the email, and refresh, not received yet, not received yet, not received yet. And while we wait, we send an email to Emily at Canvas. So test2 from Wint to Emily at channel. Sent. It is close to sent. Let's look at it here. Interesting. Not reached here. Maybe we might be missing something. Let's check some firewalls. So sometimes firewalls is an issue. So firewall is off here. And firewall is off here too. Okay, that's fine. So what else could be wrong? From here and here. Not going through. Let's check our queues. Do we have anything in our queues? Nothing stuck in our queue in this. Otherwise it should show you a queue. And in here, let's check our queue. Oh, here something is stuck. It's saying DNS delivery connector. So here I do have 3 emails that were sent and are stuck here. So from this server to that server. So they're stuck here from this. Check this email. It is from this person to administrator@win.pri. So what's wrong with them? Now let's check our things again. So in here, a hub transport server role, internal relay, which is accepted domain, and in send connector. Let's go into send connector and change this address space to star, and let's try this. And same thing, let's go here. Instead of the name address space, change it to star. So this is done. So send connector, we have accepted domain, and hub transport server. These are receive connectors. Permissions are allowed, and all we need to do, let's go to services, restart the transport service once, go down to transport service. So you see, problems will come, so don't panic, don't give up. Try your best to solve the problem, regardless of how much time it takes. So send. I'm gonna restart submission service as well one time. Actually, the problem that I see in these servers, because I didn't restart them in a while, they were all in pause state. So that could be the reason as well. So let's restart them for once. This is restarted, and this one is also restarted. And plus I need to restart because they were pinging to IPv6, so maybe in their cache they're still trying to reach each other through IPv6, although they can ping IPv4, so it might be. So let's wait for a few moments. And this happens in Exchange. Exchange is not a very simple product. You should have lots of patience with this, or any other advanced product. This is not a simple, so lots of hit and trial is required. So this one is starting, this one is also starting, and I would say you should do, if you're following the steps and doing it, you should do this again in your home lab without following the steps. Maybe you can write them down, few major steps, and try doing it on your own, because you will see different type of errors even if you do exactly in the same manner. So here I'm logged in, but again it logged in with non-domain ID. I log off and log back in with Exchange, with the administrator. So went slash administrator password. Here, once this comes back, so here I'm gonna start Exchange server console. Here I'm gonna make sure firewalls are off. Here, if I go down on this one, firewall loading. Let's see what happens. Here it is loading. Let's give a few more moments. I'm gonna pause the video. Once they both come back, I'm gonna start it. Okay, both servers are restarted. So Wint is restarted, DC is restarted, and so Wint is trying to connect. So immediately, sometime it doesn't connect. At the same time, let me log in. So this one is logging in as well. How's our CPU doing? CPU is fine. How is my host CPU doing? Fine. So it is still a bit slow. Actually, you know what? Let me stop this Exchange server. So suspend. And the one is still starting up. This is still trying to connect. Here it is still trying to connect. Although I'm connected to the second Exchange server, let's see what's happening with this. So this is connected. Let's see, it is administrator. Let's start EMC. Now I'm on this server and this server. So here I already started Internet Explorer, but it's not working yet. Still loading. This is also loading. So it's very slow at the moment. Don't know why. Maybe because these servers are restarted after so long. Oh, the CPU is busy on this. Although I have lots of CPU here, maybe this is now becoming heavier. I might need to give more CPU to this, but I don't think I can give it now. Let's see. Okay, can assign CPU in running server. Strange. So it is still 100%. What is taking too long? It is Exchange itself actually. And on this, it didn't initialize. and here the exchange is also high. And guys, sometimes this happens, so don't worry, don't give up, must be fixed. Both are starting up. And I want to show you this, that this will happen, so I won't pause the video. Let me try to give more. Actually, giving more processor is not it won't help much. But I'm just giving because I have them. If you don't have additional CPU, that's fine. You don't give it to, because what affects this immediately? Whatever process service is taking long time, it will finish and then you can connect. Now in next 5 minutes, if it doesn't connect, then I might have to restart this. And now we know this, because of this, it was not doing a Mailflow, although all components are fine. And in previous videos when we did transport rule, it was not doing it because there is something wrong here that is preventing the Mailflow externally and to apply the transport rule. Now this must come back, otherwise it won't work. So I'm gonna wait, and as soon as it comes back, then I'm gonna start recording, because this would take maybe more time. Okay guys, it's been a long time, I think around more than 20-25 minutes, but this second server is not coming back. This is my second organization. First server is started, so after waiting for some time, so this Canis organization is working fine, but there is something wrong with Exchange organization. Now this might, and services is not working, overall Windows is not working. Now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna, instead of waiting on this and try to see what the problem is. Now mostly the problem is that here I think I never restarted this machine and there's something wrong with the Windows, plus it could be something wrong with the Exchange. I have a good Exchange snapshot from 25th October, so I'm going to move back to that snapshot. And since I'm reverting back this snapshot, I'm going to do the local test, Mailflow test again, and then I need to recreate the send connector, accepted domain, and everything. So here is the previous snapshot, but at the same time, let me see how is Exchange doing on this. So we'll start this, and we'll again go back to adapter settings, see if IPv6 should be off on this, and so this is off. And here let me send an email to myself. So who am I logged in with? Administrator. Here administrator is logged in here as well. I'm doing first of all internal Mailflow. So whenever you start working with Exchange and trying to do external, always do an internal Mailflow. And this is from administrator at went.pri. Let's say internal Mailflow test. And email. So if email is working fine, should be momentarily, I should be able to receive email. So email. Okay, I got it. And which means Exchange is working fine as well. Now let me do those few things. So first of all, DNS. Go to DNS and go to forwarder. Make sure that forwarder to the other domain is configured. So this other domain is configured. It's fine. So forwarder is okay. Now at the same time, let me ping by IP by name to this other domain. So ping this other domain 192.168.100.10. So pinging by IP and let's ping by name. Now this ping by name won't work if you don't have correct forwarder, so it is pinging by name, so that's fine. And all I need to do now is go under hub transport server role. First of all, accepted domain. You can create send connector first or accepted domain. It's up to you. So here I'm going to say accepted domain, and here scanf.cri, scanf.cri, and this will be internal relay, and it's done. So sometimes it might create longer time than normal, so just let it go. And a send connector. So I'm going to create a send connector for scanf.cri. So here it's scanf.cri. Next, I'm gonna say, I can't say scanf.cri, but I'm gonna say star. So anything that is going out of this domain should let go. So send connector is ready. Send connector, accepted domain, DNS, everything is ready. Now let's send an email to that other domain. So mali at scanf.local. Test from vent. Send. Jump back to the site. Log into Ali. Hopefully this should work. When I logged in here. Again, it's taking long time on this. So although this other one is working fine, but this one, actually this one also came back after a longer time because CPU was taking much. Now, since these are test server, we don't have proper service patch or security patches, so you might see these issues in these networks. And let me log in, try to open over here. Trying to connect to one, and one is busy. Actually, should be connecting to two. CH02. Oh, CH02 is just a mailbox, it's not even a cache, and I stopped the third server. Let me start that server here. So we know that why this is not working, because 2 does not have cache. So this won't even work. It should only be able to connect to 01. If 01 allows us to connect, that's not good. Searching, exchange. Actually, this process is taking so long. Let's check what is this process for. So, exchange 2010. We're saying search.cx search exe. Why is this taking? So it's saying high CPU. Let's see. And it was the same issue in the other server. So, I mean, I can revert this back, but let's see if we can find out something quick. So, problem with CPU. Found the solution. Stop the search index service. delete the folder, delete or move the folder under mailbox database name catalog data folder holds the index catalog. Start the search index service. CPU stay at 100% for 15 minutes while index server rebuilds. Problem solved. CPU is stable. Okay. Now listen to event viewer application log where I found the error. And here to test exchange, please follow the article. Just wrote this. I'm glad someone experiencing. Okay. So let's do this. So here still, if it's taking long time, let's go to services. If it lets us, so complete CPU is busy. At the same time, it wants me to go to C drive and program files, and now this might be not an issue in your case, so but here I want to add as much troubleshooting as possible, but this troubleshooting is mostly related to this test environment. Although since the video is getting bigger and bigger, should I jump back to this? Let's jump back to this. I'm gonna revert back this machine as well. Let's see. Now since I'm reverting back this machine, again I need to do the same exercise. I'll do the local email test. So local email, basically now this server is reverted back to the same where this server is reverted back, actually this one. This is my second organization. So I hope you're keeping track of what I'm doing here. But as being the Exchange admin at this level, understanding Exchange should be able to understand what I'm doing here. If not, you need to start from Exchange beginning. So here, let me see that. So I reverted back and I'm gonna check my local Exchange. So let's log in with MLE. I can log in with admin here. So MLE, let's do a local test. So local test to myself, MLE, and test. And in few moments, if Exchange is working fine, I should be able to receive it. Now I'm jump back to this. Need to do the same thing here on Hub Transport Server. Before that, I'll go here, go to adapter, go to local, go to properties, uncheck 6, go in 6, so uncheck IPv6, this is done, go to DNS, create a forwarder, properties, forwarder, add it, and here I'm gonna say 192.168, 100.199, that other domain, press OK. It should be okay in a moment. Let's ping the name, ping print bc exch01. It is pinging, so it's fine. The forwarders are working fine. Now here an accepted domain, create a new accepted domain with the name wint.cri, wint.cri, and internal relay. So it's fine. And then I'm going to create a send connector for wint.cri. Here, what do I need to do? I can go with think internal. Should work with custom as well, but the internal use to email servers in your Exchange organization. This connector will be email to internal Exchange server smartphone. And connector, internet, this connector, no, internal. So here, next, and done, route to smartphone. to do this. That needs to be done. So I did internet here. So done. Accepted domain, send connector, all done. Now let's do a test. So here I'm gonna do a test administrator at Kenneth.pri. No, win.pri. The other domain, and test from Kenneth. Then email, go here, refresh. And from here, send to Ali, test from Win. Since we reverse it, how about firewalls? Oh, firewalls are on, so firewalls should be off. And on this side, just from Kenneth. What is this? Oh, error. Client was not authenticated. Okay. So now actually we're moving, but let me check the firewall first. Firewall is off. Okay. It's fine. And here I have custom Kenneth saying not authenticated. Since not authenticated, let's go to Hub Transport Server, default receive connector, go to permissions, anonymous is selected, IP addresses are there. What about on this side? Go to Hub Transport Server and receive connector. Let's check that out. And here, anonymous is not selected. So this is one thing. The video has been 58 minutes. Now let's see. Should be working. On this side it's not working. How about this side? I need to redo a test again. So send to administrator, test 2. Oh, excellent. So from here, so one side is working from here to here. So from Kenneth to Wint is working. Okay, now let's reply to this message. So saying here we're gonna say reply from Wint and send. Let's see what happens. And we have a successful reply from Wint. So now Mailflow is working from both sides. So, and then one more time, let's do a new test from here. Let's say send to Ali, test 10 from Wint, and goes to here, should reach here. Refresh. And from here, let's take a new. Let me say here Wint, test 11 from Canuck here. So it immediately comes to this. Immediately, and let's reply to this message. And here I'm Ali. Here I'm gonna say send. To reply automatically goes. So what's wrong with it? Oh, dot local. Okay. So I'm not sending. So this email that I sent was local. Wrong email address. Sorry. So try Ali at Wayne dot. Sorry. It should be canap.cri test 12 Wayne. Did I send it to the right? Test 12. Did I set test 12 for Wayne? Canap.cri. Should be gone. Okay, test 12. Test 12 is the latest one. It's here. Ali, the email address you entered could not be found. Please check the recipient email address. Okay? CRI. And what about the one that I sent earlier? There was, oh, it's Muhammad Ali. Oh, the alias is Ali, but the full name is Muhammad Ali. Okay, so that's why. So it should be Muhammad Ali at canap.cri. That's 13 from here. Immediately received. Excellent. So guys, in summary, what we did, we had two organizations. We had few issues here. Maybe because of VMware, I had to revert back these machines. But basically, in order to send out emails, you need to have, you need to ping by name by IP, and you can only ping by name with DNS as forwarders or subzones or secondary zones. And plus, you have a send connector for each other, you have a separate domain for each other, and then we can do the test. Mailflow. So thank you for watching this video, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.